Before we begin this video, I'd like to mention that all opinions expressed are mine and mine alone. Anything I say within this video, let it be positive or negative, is merely what I wish to see in Sonic Frontiers. What I deem positive and negative within the game may not 100% reflect the opinions of other people, so please do respect my and other people's opinions. I thought I'd add this disclaimer, as near the end of the video, I state some very heavy opinions pertaining to the hands-on gameplay video, some of which may be viewed as overboard to some. I respect everybody's opinions towards Sonic Frontiers, let it be for or against. However, I do not respect those who intentionally send hateful messages towards me or other people in the comments. So please, try to respect other people's opinions. Thank you. So we've got more Sonic Frontiers content. 2 videos in one day, in fact. Let's react to it. But yeah, I'm excited to react to these 2 videos. I've already seen the Sonic Central video, and honestly, I gotta say that it is looking really, really good. Now let me show you, because what we got here in the Sonic Central video was actually really, really interesting.
To celebrate Sonic Frontiers, we are excited to present a sneak peek of a new animated special.
This is what I'm going to talk about here.
Taking place before the events of the game. We hope you enjoy this exclusive first look.
So this takes place before the game starts. And something I noticed myself was that, oh yeah, there it is. If you saw that, the lightning was red and it was not a normal kind of lightning. If we rewind it here just a bit. Oh, dang it, I rewind.
Featuring Knuckles,
YouTube mobile. Gotta love it. Right there. There is the thunder. That is no ordinary thunder. That is so freaking thunder created by whatever is the reason for Sonic Frontiers to ever happen in the first place. Why that lightning is striking this particular area of Angel Island, I have no idea. Now I'm sure the more knowledgeable people with Sonic lore can probably come up with some wild theory as to why this is happening, but if you have a theory as to why this is happening, definitely leave a comment down below. I'd be more than interested to see what you have to say about this. But after this is when we get more gameplay.
The entire short later this year, prior to the release of Sonic Frontiers.
So we're gonna expect that right before Sonic Frontiers release, and to be honest, I'm very intrigued to see how that looks. It's animated, which I'm very excited about. Now what do we got here? Right, okay. Yeah, it's the dragon. Okay. This is a really interesting boss fight here that we've got here. Definitely reminds me of a lot of different boss fights that we've seen in the past, like Frontiers, but this, not Frontiers, I meant Colors and Forces, but that ring arena there, that's new. I have not seen that before, I don't think, but that is definitely something to keep an eye out on, because I am very intrigued and very excited to face this boss. This is definitely a much better preview of the gameplay than what we've seen in the past week or so, and I'm very excited to see what else Sega has in store for us, and what else we have to see for Frontiers. Alright, so this is the hands-on gameplay. Now I have tried my best to not watch this, and so I have no idea what to expect. I have no idea what to expect for this, but I'm very, very intrigued to see what we've got. That is true.
I was fortunate enough to be one of the first people outside of Sonic Team to go hands-on with Sonic Frontiers, and let me just say, if you're worried about how the blue blur will fare in this unfamiliar genre, well, I think Crush 40 probably put it best. Open your heart, it's gonna be alright.
That's worrying. If I'll be honest, that is worrying.
The first thing that struck me about Sonic Frontiers was how uniquely somber and serene it was right from the outset. After flying into a wormhole with Tails and Amy, Sonic finds himself separated from his friends and all alone on an isolated island, with nothing
So
but
kind of like
eyes
Generations,
to collect the Chaos
but
Emeralds. There's no one for
instead
Sonic
of
to bounce off of, no
alternate
weird Crush 40
timelines,
soundtrack, just wide open fields as far as the eye can see. There's an air of mystery in Sonic Frontiers, and it's a vibe that's driven home even further by the beautiful yet minimalist piano melodies that accompany Sonic as he explores the island.
Minimalist piano melodies. That reminds me a lot of Breath of the Wild. But then again, it's kind of hard not to replicate Breath of the Wild when it basically got the best open world game, kind of formed what open world games are about.
Past games in the Sonic series have taken different tones depending on their stories and themes. This time, these mysterious islands are the game's major setting. That's why our artists have worked hard to create a mysterious mood. Of course, the big new change in Sonic Frontiers is the shift from purely linear levels to a huge open world where Sonic can freely run in any direction. But Sonic Team doesn't like to use the term open world to describe Sonic Frontiers' gameplay, instead referring to its style as being open zone. Open world games like Zelda or other AAA games fundamentally have RPG or adventure worlds. For Sonic, the core here is a 3D action game. Our basic idea was to have that take place in open space. What sets Sonic Frontiers apart is this different approach to an open game world. Having played Sonic Frontiers for about 4 hours, it's easy to see what Izuka-san means. Sonic Frontiers' open zone design is very different from any other open world I've played. It's a giant playground. Every few feet there's a bumper spring that bounces you like a pinball between 5 other bumpers.
So what we saw in the first 2 trailers really weren't a tech demo kind of thing.
Essentially, they've taken that core appeal of every Sonic level having multiple paths.
So it literally is just a playground. Okay, that's honestly really disappointing.
One thing that has to be noted is that very few of these elements are built into the environmental design, meaning that rails, platforms, boost springs, and so on are just inexplicably floating in the air all around, which isn't totally unusual for a Sonic game, but it feels especially jarring in Frontiers in particular because of the frequent and sudden pop-in of these objects and the otherwise very naturalistic art style. Of course, it's worth emphasizing that this gameplay and the version that I played were from an early build, but this is definitely an area that
I'm sorry for being so silent, I'm just listening to this because I haven't reacted to this yet.
There's also a wide variety of puzzles and challenges that are littered throughout the zone, and completing them is how you uncover sections of your map. Most of these are very simple, requiring you to orient a statue the correct way, quickly hop back and forth between colored tiles, or use Sonic's new side loop ability to draw circles around certain objects.
Side loop, okay, that's a name. That's the name for it.
Are the races against the clock where you have to get from point A to point B in a limited amount of time. The openness of Frontiers level design makes straightforward races like these a ton of fun, because you have to try and improvise a path to the end that might not be immediately obvious. There are some exceptions, but combat in traditional Sonic games generally isn't a thing that goes much deeper than jumping, rolling, or using a homing attack into enemies at the right time. That changes in Sonic Frontiers, which now has you fighting all sorts of wandering enemies and mini-bosses using an all-new array of incredibly flashy attacks. It's not all style and no substance though. Sonic is able to quickly dodge using the bumper buttons on the gamepad, and by pressing them together, he can even parry attacks with the right timing. His homing attack also feels much more powerful, landing with a ton of impact, and keeping Sonic stuck to his enemy, allowing for a flurry of follow-up strikes. One of the things I really appreciate about the combat from what I played is that there are usually multiple ways to deal with specific enemies. Like, take for example this guy, who has an impenetrable shell that he can expand into spinning blades and throw at you. One way to deal with him is just to carefully time your homing attacks so you don't get hit by the blades. But if you do that, the window to damage him is small. To increase that window, you can either parry the blades and knock them away right before they hit you, or you can even use Sonic's side loop ability to encircle the enemy, which causes the shell to go flying upwards.
I see.
Defeating these enemies will reward you with EXP that you can use to purchase new skills from a skill tree, which gives Sonic Frontiers a really nice feeling of power progression, even in just the relatively short amount of time that I played. Some of the later skills that you can get are just unbelievably cool, and it's super satisfying to see Sonic Team experiment with different ways that Sonic can attack enemies beyond just spins, jumps, and bumps. In addition to these smaller enemies, there are also a handful of enormous world bosses that I had to contend with. These are near Shadow of the Colossus-esque in their scale, with one in particular against a beast named Asura, requiring Sonic to bait the Titan to slam the ground and then boost up its arm in order
So
to
it has a
reach
name,
spots on its head.
Astra.
It's an ambitious boss battle, far beyond anything I've seen in the Sonic series to date, but it's also the part of the game that needs the most work. Far too often, I'd fly off the boss's arm without knowing why, or I'd get to the top and for some reason lack the momentum needed to actually reach the head. Sonic must hunt down and defeat these bosses in order to collect portal gears, which open up portals that lead to bite-sized linear stages, done in the style of previous Sonic games, giving Sonic Frontiers a nice mix of both old and new styles. These classic levels each come with a handful of optional goals, like beating the level under a certain time, collecting all the red rings, and so on, with each goal rewarding you with a vault key, which are needed to unlock the coveted Chaos Emeralds.
Okay, so you unlock Chaos Emeralds in this game.
Sonic Frontiers is an exciting new step forward for the Sonic series into uncharted territory, and based on
Disagree,
my time
but
with it,
okay.
Sonic Team seems to have hit upon a winning formula. There's certainly still work to be done before it's released during the holiday season. There's a lot of distracting pop-in, there's a fair amount of bugs still left to be squashed, and the big boss fights could do with some tweaking. But ultimately, my time with this early build answered the one question I had on my mind. Will Sonic's one-of-a-kind gameplay translate into an open world? The answer is a resounding absolutely. Thanks for watching, and tune into IGN for more Sonic Frontiers coverage as part of IGN First. And for everything else, keep it here on IGN.
Interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about that, if I'll be honest. I am, quite honestly, not sure how I feel about that entire description about how Frontiers isn't open world, but rather open zone. That's really disappointing to me, if I'll be honest. Wow. So my overall thoughts on Frontiers, it was actually really disappointing what I just saw. I did not expect them to label Sonic Frontiers as an open zone game. Like, I thought that they were originally trying to go for open world. The way that they labeled it was really misleading, and I honestly really dislike that. It gives me a real strong sense of disappointment knowing that they were going to go for open world, or maybe they weren't even going to go for open world in the first place, and then they just went to open zone. I dislike that greatly, and I feel like my hope for Sonic Frontiers to be a good game has kind of diminished a bit, if I'll be honest, because if Sega can't properly label their game or label what kind of game it is, then I feel like they just straight up don't know what they're doing for an open world kind of concept game. See, I've been getting into a lot of Breath of the Wild as of recently, as I've said a couple times now, and I wanted to see Frontiers take some inspiration from that, but clearly that's not the direction they originally intended to go. The fact that it's an entire playground as opposed to an actual story, really, just doesn't sit right with me. Unless Sega can bring something to the table that could somehow redeem this, I personally don't see how Frontiers could be a good game. But I don't know. You guys leave what you think about this in the comments, and I'd definitely love to hear what you guys have to say about this. Overall, I'm let down, confused, conflicted, and most importantly, disappointed at how Sonic Team and the team that's working on Frontiers has treated this. So again, Sonic Team, in the event that you do watch this, maybe reconsider what you want to base Frontiers off of, because this is truly a misstep. I implore you to take a step back and think about what you want Frontiers to really be. And if it is a playground that you want it to continue to be, then I believe that you are making a very big mistake.